Hello and welcome to another edition of Around the Couch. I'm Dan Whitmer alongside Andy Sissy.
Hey man, it's good to be back after about an eight-year hiatus, maybe 9 years. It's good to see you again, man.
We've just had so much demand for another show. Everyone's been emailing us, begging. Not really, but
We got a lot of calls, a lot of emails. Manny Abraham's brother or whatever. Again, he's a big fan, so it's good to be back, man.
we also have Steve Barry.
Feels like we never left. Feels like we never left.
Amen. And Jason Malloy.
What's up? Don't know what I'm doing here, but that's all right.
He's our audio technician, and he's been doing a great job behind the scenes for us. All right, so our first story, obviously, is the Cavs losing Game 5, 120 to 129, and they lost the final series to the Warriors last night. Cavs' emotions were raw in the aftermath, according to head coach Tyronn Lue. Andy, what are your thoughts about the series?
Well, I'll be honest. I really thought it would go at least 6 games, and my official pick before the series, I hate to say it, was the Cavs in 6. I had Cavs in 7, and then at the very end, I changed it to Cavs in 6, and I thought Kevin Durant would come out and be really tight, and I thought that the Cavs would steal Game 1, and all of a sudden the Warriors would feel that pressure, and it just didn't work out that way. They came out loose, and they just proved that they were a much better team, which I just did not see. I thought with the addition of Kyle Korver, he was an all-star just, two years ago for the Hawks, shooting about, I think he shot 48% from 3 this year. I thought that would be huge for him. But
especially with LeBron and Kyrie driving, you think a guy like Korver would
fit in perfect, And I also thought he would I thought he's more consistent than J.R. Smith, and it ended up not really being the case. J.R. obviously got hot last night, but
they didn't even use him. I thought, why do you not go to him?
J.R.?
Yeah, they don't give him the ball almost ever down the stretch.
He was 7 of 8 from 3, and they didn't even give him the ball. Yeah, I was really frustrated with that. I thought they should try and run some plays for him, and this kind of goes to the point of Tyronn Lue. What's the guy doing in the huddle? Anything?
That's how LeBron likes it, though, isn't it? The coach like that, where he can just kind of.
I think so, but that's my biggest issue about the whole thing is you can't always just do what LeBron wants to do. He is the best player in the world, but it's very close because he will not allow a coach to come in there and coach him hard. If you get a guy like Phil Jackson in there in his prime, I know he's been out of coaching for a while, how much better could they be? Yeah,
potential. You obviously can't blame LeBron for everything because without him, we'd be like an 7 or 8 seed in the playoffs. But
you can't blame LeBron for everything, but he deserves a lot of the blame, I think, though. A lot of people are going to leave this series, and every year it's not LeBron's fault. It's never LeBron's fault. The guy had 40 last night or whatever. Yeah, the guy got 5 layups down the stretch because nobody was playing defense. He knows how to boost the stats.
He averaged a triple-double.
I know he did, but
doesn't it seem like I felt he could play a lot better? Is that just me? It seemed like there was long stretches where he would just take off and not do anything. Is that just
defensively?
Me? Defensive, and then he's super passive on offense.
I feel like he's asked to do so much defensively. He has to guard Durant for most of the game.
He didn't guard Durant for most. I thought Jefferson was guarding him he guarded him down the stretch, maybe. But.
Yeah, I guess. To start the game, at least he guarded him until Jefferson came in.
Yeah.
So maybe.
Okay. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that I'm with Jay a little bit. I understand that he is tired. I get that. But they had 2 and 3 days off between every finals game. He rested. He rested about, I think, 7 or 8 games this season. They were really, they swept through 2 out of 3 the first series in the playoffs. He was able to rest a lot. If he's tired getting all that rest, I heard, LeBron's tired. The guy's, he doesn't even practice. Now, I think in the playoffs he did, but in the regular season he wasn't even practicing down the stretch because they wanted to rest him. And I agree with all that stuff, but
I just think the Warriors are just. I don't think it has anything to do with LeBron. I think the Warriors just had too much talent you add Kevin Durant to a 73-win team, and we were still able to win a game and keep the last game somewhat close. I think that in itself is an accomplishment and just is a testament to how good the Warriors were this whole season.
I would say, they were a Draymond Green suspension last year away from possibly losing that series for the second year in a row, and then they added Kevin Durant. I think that they don't manage LeBron's minutes either in the regular season. If you look at guys like Kobe Bryant or Jordan, those guys' minutes were managed a lot better than. What did LeBron play this year? Close to 40 minutes a night, and he's 32, almost 33 years old, and then you expect him to go to his 7th straight finals and be completely rested in each game. The thing that killed me was you have one guy who can legitimately lock down Durant at times, and that's LeBron James. They have 4 guys they can put on LeBron James. Iguodala can guard him. Draymond Green can guard him. Klay Thompson in a pinch can guard him. And Kevin Durant can guard him. So they can constantly switch off and on a LeBron. And you got one guy who really down the stretch you want covering Kevin Durant. Who else is going to guard Kevin Durant on that Cavs team?
And this is
Jefferson,
why.
Give me a break.
No, I agree. And I don't know why Jefferson was playing so much. But in my opinion, that's another reason I blame LeBron James as basically the GM of this team. And I know, people say, I feel like he has taken such a big role and they do everything he wants. You sign Tristan Thompson, do a big deal. The guy is not a good defensive player. I heard somebody say, well, he's like Ben Wallace. No, Ben Wallace won a Defensive Player of the Year 3 times. Tristan gets owned down low. Now, he is the best offensive rebounder arguably in the league, but he's not even a great defensive rebounder. So you give that guy $80 million. Then you give J.R. Smith $57 million.
But in this environment, the NBA salary cap has increased so dramatically to where there's crazy contracts going around right now just because the salary cap has increased. You have guys like Chris Middleton, he got that guy Alan Crabb making $80 million.
And you are right about that. It has gone up, but still, you can't give a guy like Tristan Thompson $16 million and then complain that. You're not. They win all offense.
All right. So Tristan, he almost averages a double-double every year. Almost. He's close.
Yeah, 9 and 9, 8 and 8.
Yeah, 8 and 9.
I'm with Andy where, you didn't leave a lot of money to sign another guy. And the problem I have with LeBron is he whines during the regular season because he looks over and sees the Warriors getting Kevin Durant and he knows his window's closing. But there's nobody in the league that you're going to be able to sign to equal the signing of Kevin Durant. Nobody's walking through the door that's at that level that you can just randomly sign in the middle of the season. The guy whined for 6 months, but they got Kevin Durant. It is what it is. So who are you going to get that equals that signing on the Warriors?
I don't know how much the Tristan Thompson and J.R. Smith signings hurt us because we're allowed to go over the salary cap to a certain extent if we already have the player. So Dan Gilbert's willing to pay all this money, which is a good thing.
That's a great thing, and I understand that. But why? They were bidding against themselves with J.R. Smith. He didn't have even an offer out there. I think Brian Windhurst said that he would still be a free agent right now if the Cavs hadn't signed him because he thought he was worth way more than he was. Last year, he got 1 year, $6 million. I understand the cap went up, but at the end of the day, LeBron has to be smart enough, and not even just LeBron, I get it. David Griffin, all those guys have to be smart enough to know, all right, we are cap struck now because we have spent all of our money and now we're not going to be able to make any future moves. Sure, if you want to keep the same team together, perfect. He's going to pay all this money and to have an owner like that's great. But now I hear all these, we're going to add Paul George, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Yeah, you have to trade guys that you have. You can't just add these guys in free agency anymore. You're done adding free agents.
Speaking of that, what do you think the Cavs have to do this offseason to win another championship? What's it going to take to take down the Warriors as far as offseason moves, Barry?
I know it sounds nuts, but logic says you have to go get a guy like Paul George, right? Re-signing a guy like Kyle Korver or going to get a bench player or a role player isn't going to put you over the hump to beat this Warriors team. They're all young. They're all going to stay there.
So what's it going to take to get Paul George? We're going to have to give up probably, Kevin Love?
It would have to be, probably.
I don't know.
I heard that. It's interesting to me that in the middle of last year, you heard Kyrie Irving's name a lot as the guy that would go if they had to split the three of them up. because
I don't know if we can give up Kyrie.
I am 100% in agreement. I'm just saying, like, all they said was they're both ball dominant, him and LeBron. LeBron brings the ball up the floor anyway. He scores all those points. I hope that they don't get rid of Kyrie.
I feel like at this point,
I would assume now
they're not going to get rid of Kyrie.
I think before they won a title, I think everybody except LeBron was tradable. But I think after the way he played, and then again he played great in the playoffs this year. But I don't think they'll deal him. I think
you're talking about Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie. I think he's untradeable.
I also don't think they make a move like that. I've heard. I could see, I guess, Carmelo Anthony, because I think you could pull some strings and it would be a little bit of a different deal than getting a Paul George.
Would you do Love for Carmelo?
That would be the worst.
I don't know. I would not.
The worst thing.
I'm not a big Carmelo guy.
I don't think that.
At least Love will grab rebounds and like try to bang down a little bit on defense, but like Carmelo is take the ball and I'm shooting it and that's it. What is he doing for any team he's ever been on?
I agree. Now, I will say Love played awful last night.
He's hit and miss a lot. He'll have 2 good games and then he's nowhere to be found. But
I think you get a lot of that with Melo, though, without the other stuff. There are games where Melo's 3 for 21 from 3, never stops shooting, he doesn't hit, but he also doesn't hustle, doesn't play defense, and doesn't grab rebounds.
Right. So I think you're just better off with Love in that situation.
And I think every move we have to make has to be with the Warriors in mind. What gives us the best opportunity to beat them?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, matchup-wise. So maybe that is a reason why you deal Love for someone who could possibly guard Durant a little bit.
So are you
like
looking
a Paul George?
Paul George, or are you looking for someone just to outshoot the Warriors?
We have to match up with them defensively, I think, and then also...
Well, and Carmelo's the answer? I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm not a huge Carmelo
fan.
No,
I don't think. I've heard Jimmy Butler's name floated around, and again, I think that would be great. But I think you need, and this reminded me of the Lakers when they lost to the Celtics in 2008. They got absolutely abused, and they came back the next year and they focused on nothing but defense. Gasol got a lot tougher. Bynum was back from injury. You know, Kobe made sure those guys were playing better D. And he said you can't win a championship and think offensively. And I think that's what the Cavs tried to do this year. And I don't necessarily know if they had a choice, but I think now you can't do that.
Yeah.
Guys like Kyle Korver and guys, I don't know if you have to add a big man down low. And I know that's not really the way the NBA is going, but you need this to tighten up on D.
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to beat them talent-wise or skill-wise. You'll probably have to get physical with them, bang around with them.
Slow the game down.
Well,
I was wondering why they didn't slow the game down this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some size, because they go small.
Well, and then Windhurst said they don't have the tools to do it this year. Like, they really, with Delhi and Mozgov in the past, they were able to slow the game down a little more. And Delhi, I got on that guy. I never thought he was that great. Offensively, he definitely wasn't very good. But you lost, a guy that would at least try and stay in Steph Curry's face. And I feel like that's probably what they have to do. They have to add defense and slow the game down. And still, I don't know if that's going to be enough. But I know that what they did this year, trying to outgun them, did not work.
I think the problem is the formula. 2 years ago, you saw Delhi shut Curry down for the first 2 games of the series, but he couldn't maintain it. He was in the hospital getting fluids after game 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
So the formula was, if you can shut Curry down and make other guys beat you, you have a legitimate chance. They don't have a lot of size. Now, if you shut Curry down, they just give the ball to Kevin Durant. So it's pretty nuts what they're going to have to try and do. I think you do have to just out-defense them and slow the game down. Because I don't think there's any way, like you said, Dan, that you're going to out-talent them.
Yeah.
You could probably acquire 2 or 3 guys and not be able to out-talent the Warriors.
So what are you guys' thoughts on having 1 or 2 super teams? Is this good for the NBA? Is it bad for the NBA? Andy?
I don't like it, man. I think that I've always been a huge NBA fan. Me, I'm a big baseball guy, but NBA basketball is always my second go-to sport, and this is probably the least amount of basketball I've ever watched. I haven't been interested. I mean, from the beginning of the season, we looked at each other. We go, "Well, it's going to be the Cavs and the Warriors."
Yeah.
I mean, it made the regular season extremely boring.
It's irrelevant.
It really was. There was only, the first 3 rounds was really irrelevant. You know, there was
in the Eastern Conference.
in the
especially.
Eastern Conference for sure. There was a good Wizards Celtics series, awesome. Now, Game 7, whoever wins that, we're gonna get to go see them lose to the Cavs in 4, and they did, or 5. I'm sorry, Celtics won a game. I think that's tough. You know, I always give San Antonio a puncher's chance. A lot of respect for Popovich and everything they do over there. But let's face it. I mean, I know a lot of people said Kawhi getting hurt.
We'll have to bring in our Spurs expert next show.
Yeah,
Matt
man. Matt Masenko, that guy, you know, big Spurs expert. But yeah, I think I don't think it's great for the league. I think it made it boring this year. The West, even in the West, which I think is a slightly better conference, there wasn't a whole lot of tough series. You know, the Rockets and the Thunder, I thought because of the Harden Westbrook thing was cool, but you know, I think that would have go 5 or 6. So it just
you still know you're watching teams that have no chance to beat the Cavs or the Warriors, even if they get through the first or the second round.
Yeah, I think it makes the finals more interesting, but the regular season really boring.
Well, and that's the thing. I really thought it would go 6 or 7 because I thought the NBA. First off, they need it. They need a good series, and you know, not to say it's fixed, but you know, I thought the refs would do everything they could to make sure it was a long series. And you go because everybody was really excited. You know, the third time these teams have met, a lot of star power. I mean, Steve Kerr even said, "I've never seen this much star power out on the floor at one time."
Yeah,
and it just didn't live up to the hype. So you go. Terrible regular season, terrible playoffs, and I wouldn't say the finals was terrible, but it wasn't great.
Yeah. I think what's crazy is we're a minor Cavs meltdown in Game 3 from talking about Game 6, though. They blow that Game 3 lead. Now it's 2-2, possibly, and then they lose last night in a close game. You go, okay, maybe they get the win at home, and now we're on to Game 7.
Yeah.
I know they lost in 5, but if you watch the last 3 games, I think it is a little bit closer than everybody thinks. I think the super teams are good if you're a Warriors or Cavs fan.
Yeah.
And I'm a Cavs fan, so, you know, I mean, if there has to be super teams, I would prefer that one of my teams is one of them.
Yeah.
But I think it's terrible for the league.
All right, so moving on, this past year's NBA regular season was filled with a couple players who put up historically statistical seasons. Russell Westbrook became the first player to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson in 1962. James Harden was 2 rebounds per game short of averaging a triple-double. Kawhi Leonard and LeBron James also had career seasons. Barry, I'll start with you first. Who is your regular season MVP?
My MVP is James Harden. I don't want to sound like I'm hating on Russell Westbrook. I'm not overly impressed with the averaging a triple-double in a regular season. I feel like in the league, there are 6 guys that could do that every night if they wanted. Now, would their teams win a bunch of games? No. But I know they made the playoffs. But Steven Adams came out
Who are
and
some
said,
of those guys?
I would say LeBron could do it.
Why hasn't he then?
Cool, because it would probably sacrifice a bunch of wins. Steven Adams came out for the Oklahoma City Thunder and said that he was moving out of the way and sacrificing rebounds that sometimes the other team would get just to let Westbrook try and get a rebound. That's ridiculous. You know how crazy that is? I would say Harden because, I mean, they won 50 games in the West, and he really, I mean, who did he have? Beverly?
He had
Eric Gordon.
Yeah, overrated.
Trevor Ariza.
That's a joke.
He's okay.
Mike D'Antoni's system.
No, huge. Yeah.
Hey, and I know Lou Williams. I mean, he had some guys around him. He had more than Westbrook had.
He had some guys around him. Lou Williams, Trevor Ariza, Eric Gordon, and they won 50 in the West, and they were the 3 seed, I think. Right? Were they the 3 seed?
Let's see.
I believe so. Yeah, but all guys perfect for D'Antoni's system. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs in that system.
The other thing, Harden also plays no defense.
He had nobody. I mean, listen to the guys you just named. Look at a Warriors team in the West, or even you're naming guys like
I'm not saying
Eric
they're studs.
Gordon and Trevor Ariza.
They're better than Andre Roberson, Steven Adams.
Oladipo's not bad. Adams is
He's not bad. He's not good.
That's exactly what Ariza is. Exactly.
They're
okay.
Ariza's a solid.
They're all right.
Ariza's a good defender.
Yeah.
Eric Gordon won the 3-point shootout. was a 20-point per game player until he got hurt. Came back, had
Ruby
a great
Gibson
season.
competed in the 3-point shootout at one point too. He stunk. So don't give me the 3-point shootout argument.
I'm just saying, Eric Gordon had a good year. I mean, they had some talent
They're
around
okay.
them. They're not. I'm not
He
saying
should be
they're
the
great.
MVP.
No, Russell Westbrook averaged a triple-double. I
Give me
don't
a
care
break.
what you say. Okay, Steven Adams let him get rebounds. I heard that at times they would let him pull down the rebounds because it was valuable for him to go start the fast break.
Did he not take a bunch of bad shots to score all those points?
He did, but if you look,
He takes bad shot after bad shot. He broke the turnover record.
I believe Harden broke the turnover record, pal.
Yeah, but Westbrook broke it too. They both,
They both
eclipsed
broke
the
it. They
turnover
did.
record.
That is true.
I believe Westbrook had more turnovers than Harden. Did he not, or was it the other way
I don't
around?
think so. I think it was the other way around.
Well, they both eclipsed it, pal.
What I like though is, this guy had 50, 10, and 10 games throughout the season. He carried his team on his back. If you take him off that team, that's the worst team in the NBA, maybe in NBA history. He didn't have any talent around him. Yeah, Oladipo, he had him. He was their second best player. And he averaged about 14 a game. He had no shooters around him. So I look at, if you would just swap Harden and Westbrook and then put Westbrook in that system, his numbers would be even better probably. And he also he doesn't play great D, but he plays better D than Harden. So I think if you put it all together, very similar numbers, but I got to give the edge. You take a team to the playoffs that loses Kevin Durant, they had to completely change everything. I would give it to him. First guy to average a triple-double since Oscar Robertson, only the second guy in history. You say all these guys could do it. Why the heck didn't they do it then?
Because they look at what you sacrifice. Look at
What are you
Westbrook
sacrificing, though? The guy has to rebound because he has to get assists.
The Rockets lost Dwight Howard, so don't give me that they're losing Durant. That's a huge loss.
That could be addition by subtraction there.
It still blows my mind too that we're talking about Westbrook and Harden and Kevin Durant. Those three were all on the same team a few years ago. How bad is Oklahoma City kicking
why you don't
themselves
give
right now?
Ibaka the max
And
let
Kendrick Perkins,
and let
$10
Harden
million
go.
a year.
That's why you don't
That
do that.
still blows my mind how good that team. They'd be the Warriors right now if they would have kept James Harden.
Yeah, that was one of the worst trades in history, I think.
Yeah.
James Harden for Jeremy Lamb.
Yeah.
I think Jeremy Lamb on like a draft pick. Come on.
Man, that was, definitely was. All right, so move on to baseball now. The Indians beat the Chicago White Sox 4-2 last night, which brings them to 31-29 on the season, and only a game back of Minnesota for tops in the AL Central. After taking the Chicago Cubs to 7 games last year in the World Series, then signing Edwin Encarnacion and getting Michael Brantley back from injury, the Indians are off to a slow start relative to expectations. Andy, is it too early in the season to be worried about the Indians?
I think it is. I think it's too early. A lot of people started panicking because Encarnacion got off to a slow start. Our buddy Ryan Lewis, the beat writer for the Beacon Journal for the Indians, he told me, he goes, hey, Encarnacion is an extremely slow starter historically. And he did start slow, but he's up to 246 now, and he's got 12 home runs. I think he's coming on. I was not worried. I heard people go, God, we lost Napoli. Okay, that guy stunk down the stretch last year. He had a great year for us, but in September and October, when we needed it, he did nothing.
Didn't he hit one home run, I think, after September 20th or something?
Yeah, it was something crazy.
He had 1 or 2 home runs the entire run in the postseason.
Can't have the party at Napoli's anymore. But but if I remember correctly, the Indians started slow last year too as a team, and
yeah, they did. They started slow and they went on a great run. I think that in baseball, and the one thing that really benefits the Indians is the division is not very strong. Now, I'm not saying we can't hang around 500 the whole season. And I think we do got to turn it on here at some point. But I think Brantley has been a good surprise. He looks like he's back to the guy he was. Encarnacion is obviously coming along. I think the starting pitching's been a little inconsistent, but I think once that gets going, that's going to be huge. Andrew Miller, that guy, he struggled in the World Baseball Classic, and I was a little nervous. He has been lights out this season.
They're hitting like 190 off him, I think, right now.
Yeah, that guy is absolutely incredible.
He's hitting 190, I believe. That's insane.
131 opponent average against with an 0.29 ERA. I mean, that deal. I know we gave up a good prospect in Clint Frazier, and I think that's one of those deals where it was great for the Yankees, and they've showed that they're doing great this year with some young guys. But anytime you got a guy like Andrew Miller, and he's got no ego.
Mm-hmm.
How many guys would be willing to not be the closer?
Yeah, and I'm a little disappointed in our starting pitching though. You have Carrasco, who's having a nice year. Kluber's off to a relatively slower start, although past couple starts I think he's been doing well. But
he got banged up in between a little bit.
Yeah, but his ERA's come down a little bit since the beginning of the year, I think. And then, but Salazar and Bauer are struggling.
Awful.
You know, their ERAs are above 5.40 and above. So, you know, that was the strength of our team last year and in the years prior to that.
Well, I think that's, you know, a lot of people picked the Indians last year and this year because of the starting pitching, and that hasn't showed up. And to me, you know, if you want to look at it positively, I feel like that's a good thing. Our hitting has come along good enough to put us at a spot where we are a couple games over 500, and our starters have really underachieved. I think I've never been a Trevor Bauer guy. I was hoping they'd ship him out.
He's the best windup in baseball. He used to, at least, when he was at Arizona State.
No, he's got a heck of. He's just a different cat, man. He's a different guy. But he's got over a 6 ERA. I don't know if it's. I feel like Mickey Callaway, you know, our pitching coach, has been able to get through to most guys, but I don't know if he's able to get through to him. Tomlin, I mean, he is who he is. He throws about 90. He goes out there and he competes, but it's not working this year. I don't know. I think that a guy like Salazar, we got to get him figured out. If the starting pitching can get it figured out, they could be back in the World Series. But if not, I mean, this could be a disappointing year.
When you're looking, I mean, Bauer's been bad, Carrasco's been bad. Tomlin, just like you said, if you throw 88, it's okay, unless you leave it belt high over the middle a couple of times a game, which he seems to do, and then the guys hit it out of the park. I think that the good news is, like you said, the division's not very good. You don't want to hang around, but it's not the best division in baseball like it might have been a couple of years ago. And Brantley's starting to round out into form and come back finally full health, full strength. Kipnis is getting healthy. You know, you were banged up at the beginning of the year. But the other thing is, once you get to the playoffs, you really only need 3, maybe 4 start. You know, you can afford to lose a Bauer and just not use him, put him in the bullpen. You're only going to work maybe a 4-man rotation, so you just got to focus on staying within striking distance, if not carrying the AL Central lead into the All-Star break, play good down the stretch. And then once you get to October, as long as Kluber and Carrasco and Salazar are worked out and throwing well, you just need one other guy. Maybe you might not need another guy, but if you need another guy, you know, Bauer's not the guy. Okay, we'll just move on to Tomlin, or you could play matchup.
And I look at a guy like Corey Kluber, and he's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And Carrasco, he's doing fine. If Salazar can get it turned around, it changes everything. And I don't think Tomlin's a bad 5 starter. He's going to go compete, and I think numbers will get better. But right now, overall, I'm not worried. If we're 500 in another month, you know, I'll probably start to get a little more worried. But I think that, you know, Detroit's not near what they've been.
Kansas City.
Detroit might become sellers, too, here at the deadline. They have a lot of bad contracts.
I think what's crazy is you're seeing the Cubs struggle starting pitching-wise, too. Having a lot of problems with their starting rotation. You can see how it's affecting them.
They're having a huge hangover.
And that's what I mean. They're not pitching it very well and getting consistency out of there. I think the Indians, too. The Indians have an incredible bullpen, you know, which can cover, you know, in Kluber or a guy like Tomlin only has to muscle you through 6 or 6 1/3, and then you can go to guys like Andrew Miller and Cody Allen. It really helps.
I don't think you can do that as much in the regular season. Like in the playoffs, that was huge last year.
But you know, you've heard Francona talk about if I feel like on a Tuesday night we just really need a win and it's a 1-run game, I know I can go to a really strong bullpen if I have to early, and then I got Kluber coming back the next night. Hopefully he gives us a better outing than we got the night before, and I think their bullpen's strong enough where you can do some things that other teams maybe can't do.
Yeah, a lot of baseball left to be played. About 100 games left, 102 games left. So, still have time to turn it around. All right, well that just about does it for our episode here, episode 1 in 2017 of Around the Couch. It's been fun so far, fun show after that long hiatus.
Great show.
And I don't know who's actually going to listen to this, but maybe we'll throw it up on YouTube.
I'm sure
and see
the
what
4 of
happens.
us will, at least 4.
Right.
That's
See how it
4
sounds.
guys.
What?
Spread the word here. Yeah, for sure. Got some people that have been begging for the show back, though. So it was definitely good to get back out here and wrap up the NBA season.
That Yahoo email account we started back in 2007 was overflowing.
Yes,
Yeah.
I need to.
Gotta give the people what they wanted.
It's been fun, if nothing else. And so long, everybody.